My presentation is all about how can we change education. The Industrial Revolution hit, and we saw a success model there, wherein the Industrial Revolution success model, as I would term it. And what happened was we had assembly lines of things which were being made. So it could be gears, it could be cars, it could be machines, it could be parts of machines again. So what would happen is there'll be this big conveyor belt, and everyone will do their part of putting things onto the conveyor belt. An example would be a car is coming in, the body would be there, doors would be added by the next person, the top painting could be done by another set of people, so on and so forth. By the end of the conveyor, you have a very beautiful mint new car. Yeah. So this is the model which was again successful, and it was really looked at. Now we started applying this model to everything that we knew, which also includes education. We have this mass industrial conveyor belt of education that we have today, wherein like grade by grade we add on knowledge and the conveyor moves on. But do we really know about how the child is? As a child, do we really know what is the emotional quotient of a child? I'm sure every child here and everyone you know, every child is unique. Do we have a system which identifies, again, a child and blooms or nourishes the child? This is a question which we don't need to answer, but we need to ponder. So that's where I posit and propose the uniquely curated, what I call as the organic education. The emotional quotient, it's just one aspect of it. There's another aspect which is also very important, as in what the child is good at. There are some things the child is inherently good at. Does our education or educational system take care of that? Also, again, we have gotten used to being process-centered. What that means is we are treating children also as machines, which again we add different things and we process and take it ahead. Process is so prime, yeah? But are children like that? I wish you could have a remote and you could press pause and the child would just freeze. And you play and the child could just move, or fast forward and the child would animate. But that's not the case. As I said before, every child is unique. Every child has their mind. Every child, again, works in a different way, understands in a different way, feels in a different way. Yeah. So I believe, like with education again, it should be unique to the child and it should be child-centered. So this is, again, my belief that moving away from industrial worker skills, we could go on creative skills, of course, communication skills, and critical thinking skills. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 there, yeah? Creative communication and critical thinking skills. We need in this world critical thinkers who can take decisions on the fly. Yeah, we really need thinkers, critical thinkers, because that's the need of the next generation of learners and seekers who are coming into the educational system. So we need to move from rote learning really on to deeper interdomain learning. What do I mean by deeper interdomain learning? Interdomain learning means, let's say if you're talking, we have so many disciplines today which are named as math, physics, or again, sciences, the social sciences again. But are there things that we apply in our day-to-day life is also a question. When we can teach math through architecture, when we can teach sciences through artificial intelligence, not just using that interface, but really dipping it in, multiple domains being learned in a very different manner. So architecture, just to cite an example, architecture uses the sciences and the math. If you can learn math through architecture, and children can then learn to identify different shapes in different structures, They can then learn as to how sanitation happens or the utility lines, how they run. And if we can do that, that is what I would say is interdomain deep learning. Some of the other things is standardized examinations. Today, we prepare children for standardized examinations. Standardized examinations are, do you know this answer? Yes or no? Now, there is a 50% probability or chance that the child would tick one of those. Or if you even increase the number of answers, the child could just close the eye and mark the answer, which doesn't serve a purpose. Also, it's kind of become like a sales-oriented process, wherein like we're trying to achieve the 95%, the 97%. Learning has today become more oriented towards the grades that the child would get. Now, this is something which is really worrisome, because then the means does not justify the end that we are really looking at. So that's again that we're really looking at progressive evaluations at every stage, how we can evaluate, learning, how we can really evaluate a child is something that we should be really looking forward to. Longer periods of learning time, again, the attention span, which is growing smaller thanks to all different kinds of media, the kind of lifestyles that we have. So how we can make it shorter, and which could include more and more domains, is something that we could work towards. And really focusing on practical learning, how we can practically do different things, is something which we could look at. We can now go on to the next slide. Learning is a collective effort, and this is an effort wherein many stakeholders are involved. So it could include the principal of a school, the teachers of the school, the parents, the management, the trustees. Every person here has a stake in education. And so I have some pointers which will be coming to next. Here in this slide, which we talk about, we educate and advocate this particular methodology, which is called V-Stream. The world is still talking about STEM. The world is still talking about STEAM, but we talk about V-Stream, yeah? I posited, or I came about, and I believe strongly in this, wherein like values, now in this model, if you would see, the values hold the others together. Value-based education is so important. Today, a large number of employees who are coming out from universities, high-end universities again, it is a surprise that we can't really employ them. Basically because, and it's not only here, different places in Africa, in Europe, in US again, the basic reason why is because there is this moving away from values, so professional values. So if we have an educational model which can string science, technology, research is again another thing that we include, have research methodologies for children which can be included in their curriculum, and it is all held by values, that I would say is a great model. So I and we always believe in working towards this ideology wherein we can have professional traits being inculcated in children. We still are talking about the STEAM. STEAM is even considered new, wherein arts is the newer addition in that lot. But we posit and we say that research should be part of that, making it stream, and values holding the whole pearl of stream should be held together by values, and that is how it can be a complete educational model. So this is our model, and how we can do it with all different stakeholders is something which we have in the next slide. This slide also talks about how education has become more of a race rather than a journey. Yeah? And we as parents, as stakeholders in this education, we need to support the schools, we need to support the teachers, we need to support the principal, the management in molding the best mold which is possible. For curriculum developers, I have this to say. Rather than just having information, loads of information in different pages, we could have more of problem-solving approaches to different problems that a child could face in the future, not yesterday, or not children of yesterday, but the children of the future. What challenges they will face. So it could be maybe a terrorism crisis. It could be water scarcity. Are we ready for it? Is our education really like making up reach that point is also a question. Again, in our curriculums, and this is specific, I would say, to the Indian context, we have a lot of abstract thinking in our curriculum which happens. We talk about higher levels or higher echelons of whether it's math or whether it's the sciences. But we don't focus on the fundamental units or the foundation of more of these subjects. And this is something I think we should really encourage in our curriculum. This is again for the policy and the curriculum developers. Include creativity in whatever activity, whether it's design thinking, making your inventions. All these are things which could be encouraged in schools. These are some of the things that we could really do. Vary the mode of instructions again. Maybe have smaller group or smaller group learning, which is happening. Depending on the topic, we could have smaller groups which could be created, or a larger group approach wherein like the topic or the pedagogy demands so. Also talking about infrastructure. Now you might think, what is the role of infrastructure in education? But mind you again, even small desks or even small notes on top of benches changes perspective, changes context, changes the mind. Imagine a child who is frustrated from what happened at the school bus. I mean, he got down at the bus, he fell down, and wherein he comes to his desk and sees a wonderful saying there which says, life is not difficult, or life is not so negative. This is something which we really need to look at, having in children. So this is something, if we can do small things, maybe a flower on a desk, or maybe it's a wonderful board, wherein you can demonstrate the small things like that. Little things do matter, yeah. So that's something which I definitely talk about in the various talks that we have. Peer, as in a child learns faster from another child. This is something which we have really not explored. If you have 3 children, you can be mindful that they learn the good, the bad, and the ugly. So why can't we explore this media to learn positive things from other children? So that's peer learning for you. Another aspect which we have there is participatory learning. Include them, make them participate more in the learning process, and practical learning, which we talked about earlier. Technology today has become the mainstay instead of just being a tool. Both ways, it's dangerous. On both ends of the spectrum, it's dangerous. Very little use, challenge. Too much of use, again, it's a challenge. The balance is so very important. I would like to take you back to this journey wherein if again, and there are many who I can see here, who had experience of a radio and huddling around the radio for different instances, whether it's to listen to news or any other parts, wherein news and music used to be broadcasted and people used to huddle around the radio. Flash ahead and we have the television wherein the interface came closer to us. It invaded spaces and it was everywhere. Flash ahead, then we had computers wherein we had to sit close to the computer and start working on the computer, wherein if you have to work, you have to be close to the computer. Flash ahead, again, we have mobiles which you carry within you. Yeah. So as you can see, the technology from far is just coming closer. I see many people chuckling. Yes, that's the truth. If you not know about it, that's the truth. It's getting integrated, and we see the next generation wherein this technology becomes part of us. As in when we see the lens which we wear could be having information which has live data from either Google or one of the service providers streaming in live into your eyes. The question is, whether this intrusive stranger is really so much welcome into our lives. This is something which we have to all think about. Yeah, technology has become another intrusive stranger in our lives, and without our invitation. So we need to really draw the lines, or before you know, we'll be enslaved by that. That's another thing. Again, for parents, I have this. Childhood is really short. Before you know, they are going off to universities and jobs, and before you know, they would be hard for you to see. These are great moments. As much as possible, I would ask you to share your time with them, and not really like I know coaching classes. Those are all other avenues which I wouldn't like to delve into in this part of the talk. But the choice is ours. Yeah, wherein we can engage them in other activities so that they don't come into our radar and don't interrupt our work, or we can be part of their world. The choice is up to us. This is also an important thought I like to leave you with. And another thing which I always say is stress is not hereditary. Yeah, it's not like I have it, so my child would have it. It's not necessary. So imposing things and transferring your stress, you make your child the object of stress transfer. You make it like, sorry, I'll use a little bit of Hindi here, that bali ka bakra, like that kind of a thing, where like you just have to put something on the child. Children are here, they are rejoicing, I can see. But again, like this is, I feel, very unfair on them. And I'm talking to a mixed crowd, and that's really wonderful. So they are really rejoicing. Some of them like really having those broad smiles. See, I'll go and talk to mom about it. See, so this again, stress is not hereditary. You don't have to pass it on. In fact, fuller lives, happier lives is something which we should be, passing on to our children. If we can do that, that's a great legacy. The little things, I always talk about the little things, maybe touching the rain, watching crows flying in the sky itself, which is like rare, but whatever is left of it, at least we look at them, be fascinated, enjoy the little moments, celebrate. Yeah, maybe it's small things, get together, celebrate as a family. Those are the things, it's a great honor to be like in part of such things, because you never know when time passes by. For my fellow students, I have to say this: respect everyone. Yeah, respect your the other gender. Whether it's a man respecting a woman respecting. Have that respect, please. This is so very important. Have that respect for the other self. Be it anyone, any economic strata, anyone, anything, any person. Respect the person, please. Believe in the power of hope. Always believe that it can happen, and you will see change will happen right in front of you. It's like magic, yeah? Believe in magic. I always say this. Believe in magic, and you will see magic happen. It's in your hands, and you can make it happen. And never, ever give up, yeah? Life will always see life as a wonderful player opposite you. So as much as you see, play with it and engage with it. But never, ever give up. So whatever challenges are thrown at you, combat, fight back, and be there right in the game. And we can all do it because we are. I thank you all.